This is the third of a three-part presentation on TVET and e-learning in Australia. The concern of this particular presentation is the sorts of resources and practices that are available to vocational practitioners in Australia. A most useful site to start research in this area is the Australian Flexible Learning Framework website. It's available at www.flexiblelearning.net.au. From here, it's possible to navigate to information on the Flexible Learning Toolbox products and to preview one of the more than 50 industry areas that are covered. Build It Right is a flexible learning toolbox that is designed to support learning for competencies in the general construction training packages and the Certificate 4 in building and construction. It covers the competencies: plan, building or construction work, produce labour and material schedules for ordering, and applying structural principles to residential low-rise constructions. If we look at plan, building or construction work, there are a number of outcomes that need to be achieved. 1. Prepare condition report, and site access is considered now. This resource is designed such that if we click on the link to Prepare Condition Report Site Access, we're given access to a range of information that is important to the learner. The learner is supplied with samples of condition reports and ultimately completes a case study for plan, building and construction work as assessment towards achievement of this competency. The Flexible Learning Toolbox also provides an opportunity for what is described as an express pathway. This is essentially a process of recognition of prior learning or recognition of current competency. A balancing act is a second flexible learning toolbox which is designed around the financial services training package. The student is provided with an opportunity to complete a job brief, which is in the form of a case study. Therefore, assessment is of a competency-based nature. Flexiblelearning.net.au also provides access to a site which looks at principles of designing and implementing e-learning. It provides an extensive gallery of options that practitioners may consider adopting as part of their teaching practice. Here we see some of those strategies easily accessible through an alphabetical index. To this point, we've looked at the development and use of centrally developed flexible learning toolboxes. These materials have been designed to drive centrally initiated change. They're expensive in their construction and their maintenance. An alternative approach can be described as decentralized innovation through a functionalities approach. Email is easy to use and almost ubiquitous. It can be used for communication on a regular basis to support individuals and groups, for the submission of assignments and the return of marking reports, also for supporting teaching and learning through messages associated with pre or post-session initiatives. Digital searches are commonplace, whether it be through a large international search engine such as Google or Wikipedia, or through internal search engines associated with libraries. learning and assessment resources can be distributed either through learning management systems such as Blackboard or the open source software Moodle, through email communication, or through other software such as wikis and blogs. The same can be said for assignments such as projects, case studies, and scenarios. Surveys and quizzes can be developed using relatively simple software. If one is looking for more formalized assessment which is secure, then more technological assistance will be required. Blogs are easy to access and easy to use. In the form essentially of a linear diary, blogs can be used by individuals, groups, or available to the general public for activities such as maintaining e-journals or diaries, also for a linear debate or discussion approach, and for knowledge construction. This is an example of a blog that I recently facilitated for students in teacher training program. Wikis are also relatively easy to use and very accessible. They provide an opportunity beyond blogs to organise information according to thematic arrangements. Again, configured for individuals, groups, or the public, they can be secure or publicly available. Can be used in similar to blogs in the form of e-journals or diaries, but also in this case for the development of e-portfolios and for an opportunity to develop knowledge construction through the contributions of individuals within a group and facilitation through a teacher. Here is an example of a group wiki which I recently facilitated, again for a group of trainee teachers. The use of audio is often an underrated and underrepresented ability of e-learning. Of course, such a facility has always been available through things like tape recordings and audio tapes. However, now we have much greater flexibility. Digital audio is relatively easy to create and edit, and can be distributed very easily through internet connections or on CD. When visual elements in the form of digital still images or digital video are added to audio, we create audiovisual presentations. These can be very powerful as small learning objects to demonstrate practical tasks and to support learning. There is a significant number of free softwares available that allow for this particular approach. Real-time communication through audio conferencing can be conducted across the telephone, but of course it can also be conducted across the internet using programs such as Skype. This is a very cost-effective way of communicating with students or colleagues. Requiring more bandwidth, but nevertheless relatively easy to use, is PC-based video conferencing. Things like MSN Messenger and Skype are softwares that certainly in Australia most students are relatively familiar with, and it is easy to use. In real time, virtual classroom software has started to mature in the last few years. These virtual classrooms allow an opportunity for groups to meet in a facilitated session with the availability of a whiteboard style function, the presentation of slides, two-way communication, chat messaging, and two-way audio. It's also possible to include two-way video, however this requires significantly increase in bandwidth. This presentation has looked at two separate approaches to the development of learning materials and practices. One, a centralized approach, developing products such as toolboxes, and another, a more potentially decentralized approach that uses the functionalities perspective to the use of e-learning alternatives.